Okay. Now that Roberto's here, we're ready to go. All right. Everybody have a seat. There's plenty of seats over there in the press because there's only one press. So. Where's CNN? All right. So we're ready? Everything's good? All right. Okay, let's begin now. My name is Manuel Rosales. I go by Manny. My name is Manuel. And I am the National Chair for the Latino Republic National Coalition. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, we gotta raise the volume. Casey, how do we raise the volume? Oh, all right, so I got it. Is that better? Like what? Is that better? Nope, it's the same. No, la misma vaina. Como dicen en Nicaragua, la misma vaina. Okay? All right, so welcome to our third annual celebrations. Fourth? Really? Okay, I'm getting old, I'm forgetting things. Fourth, right? Okay. Our fourth celebration here in Virginia, celebrating Hispanics in Virginia. The spirit of Hispanics, that's great. And just as a little overview, the LNRC was founded 14 years ago. Not by me, but I was asked to take it over. When I served at the RNC for a couple of years as a National Coalitions Director, we had a group that wanted to start something that was more grassroots. And so I helped them form the name, and they asked me if I could be the chairman, and unfortunately I'm still there. And so that's how we started. But what I want to do there is first is I'm going to recognize our sponsors, people who have supported this event, who have been there with us, Raimundo and the Libre Initiative. Raimundo, thank you so much. We appreciate it. A great organization. We're hearing from Raimundo. And one of my dearest friends, Mary Thomas. She's here with the Press and Freedom Coalition. She's a CEO and a great friend. And yeah, you're going to love what she has to say. Mary, thank you so much. And I want to recognize the board of directors, the people that really, get behind the scenes and make it happen. And that will start with the chair of the Latino National Coalition of Virginia, Astrid Gamez. That is Miss Venezuela, as we call her. She's now a rowing champion. She rows every morning, like I don't know how many miles. And she's also the chair of the Latino, the Hispanic Advisory Board for the Latino, Virginia, Hispanic. Okay, I got it. V-Lab, okay. No rats in the lab, but it's V-Lab, okay? She's the chairman of that, and she's also on other committees. And we also have J.C. Lopez right here, Mr. Bolivia. We have Roberto Coquis. Where's Roberto? There he is. Great guy. And unfortunately, Jorge Lozado, one of the founders, he couldn't be here. And also, I'm hoping that she was here, Laura Ramirez Drain, because she was one of the original founders of this organization in Virginia. She's the one that got it going. But with that, what I'd like to do then is just open it up, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a spiel before we introduce some of our speakers. And why are we celebrating Latinos in Virginia? Because it's National Hispanic Heritage Month. And National Hispanic Heritage Month was established by the legislation sponsored by Representative George Brown Jr. of Los Angeles. I'm a California guy, so that's not bad. And signed into law by President Lyndon Johnson in 1968, taking place on the week including both September 15th and 16th. Only a week in 1988. But the commemorative week was expanded to a month, September 15th to October 15th, by legislation sponsored by Representative Esteban Torres, a great guy, even though he's a Democrat. in California in Los Angeles, and amended by Senator Paul Simon and signed into law by President Ronald Reagan, the greatest president ever. September 15th was chosen as the starting point for the commemoration because of the University of the City of the Lotus, which is early morning, which is El Grito in Mexico. And that was the 16th of September in 1810, which marked the start of the Mexican War of Independence. This resulted in 1821 the independence from the New Spain colony, now Mexico, and the Central American nations of Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Nicaragua, where I'm from, and which became the Federal Republic of Central America. 30 days period includes many dates of importance in the Hispanic community. Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua celebrate their anniversary of independence on September 15th. Mexico commemorates its independence on September 16th, Chile on September 18th, and Colombia and Dia de la Raza on the 18th. Bolivia was a little behind, but they celebrated August 6, 1825. So Hispanic Heritage Week, which was proclaimed by President Johnson, is now Hispanic Heritage Month. All presidents since then, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, have given annual proclamations for Hispanic Heritage Week between 1969 and 1988. The National Hispanic Heritage Month was the first proclaimed by George H.W. Bush on September 14, 1989. And all presidents since have done a proclamation celebrating the mark of Hispanic Heritage Month. Now, it's not only the heritage, but also the contributions of the Hispanic community in the military. Being a Vietnam era vet, and I know we got some vets in here, it's a National Heritage Hispanic Month. Is also a time for the U.S. military to honor both the fallen and the active Hispanic Americans who served in the armed forces. 61 people of Hispanic heritage have been awarded the Medal of Honor. And one of them is a good friend, Al Zapata, out of Texas. We call him the General. And they were presented to members of the Navy, 13 members of the U.S. Marine Corps, 46 members of the U.S. Army. During the month of celebration, the U.S. Army commemorates the long-standing and remarkable contribution that Hispanics have made in building and defending this nation. As of September 2018, 136 Hispanic soldiers served, composing 13.8% of the Army. According to the Army website, the goal during Hispanic Heritage Month is to celebrate the diverse, inclusive environment of the U.S. Army. To coordinate efforts throughout the Army, these observations will be used to inform the audiences of the Army and then celebrate the contributions of the Hispanic soldiers, civilians, and their families. Representation of Hispanic Americans on active duty increased by 10% during the past 30 years. It is 3% now higher than it was then. The U.S. Navy celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month by honoring sailors, Hispanic heritage whose military services date back to the Civil War. As of June 2018, approximately 59,000 active and reserve sailors of Hispanic heritage serve in the U.S. Navy and the Marines. Hoorah for our guys. Now, that's a lot of information we probably didn't know about Hispanic Heritage Month, but also the importance of Hispanics and their voice in the United States. Yes, the Hispanic population is growing significantly in the U.S. Its growth rate has slowed in recent years, but it's the fastest growing demographics and projections indicate it will be accounting for 28% of the U.S. population by 2060. The growth is preliminary driven by those born in the United States, not by just immigration. So these are Latinos, Americans born here. Historical growth of the Hispanic population grew 23% between 2010 and 2020. From 1970 to the present, the population has grown sixfold. So the Latino population, not only have the contributions in the military, the contributions in society, but they're also a very important voting bloc. And we'll have some of our guests who are going to speak about that. So the current growth between 22 and 23, the Hispanic population grew 1.8%. Contributions to the U.S. growth, the Hispanic population had been the largest contributor to the U.S. population growth since 2000, accounting for more than half the growth between 2010 and 2022. So, we're having an issue with birth in the United States. Latinos don't have a problem. I got 5 kids, so I can attest to that. Future projections show that the Hispanic population will continue to grow significantly, increasing from 19% in 2023 and estimated at almost 30% in 2060. The youth population of Hispanics are the key driver of the U.S. youth population growth, making it a significant and increasing share of the under 18 populations. And our speakers are to speak to the power of the Hispanic vote. So where do we stand now? There are 6.2 million Latinos in the United States in 2021, accounting for approximately 20% of the U.S. population. With a population of 14.8 in 1980. That's a big growth in that category. So when we look at this gathering, it's to celebrate our heritage, it's to celebrate our contribution, and to be patriotic. Sometimes when they introduce me, they say, Manny Rosales was born in Nicaragua. Absolutely. I came as an immigrant when I was 4 years old. Became a U.S. citizen when I was 25 after coming back from overseas during the Vietnam War War. And I always say I was born in Nicaragua, but I was made in America. So without further ado, what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in the real hitters, because we got some great participants and speakers that are going to be with us. And the first one I want to call up is a gentleman, folks. Well, we gotta go first. I forgot. We got Leonardo Prieto, the gentleman that always has the cell phone following the saxophone. That was at the last event. He was on the phone and he was doing, boom, it fell in the sax, but he kept playing. So Leonardo is going to lead us in the national anthem. Please stand. And then we have for us a young lady that's been really helping us here today, Karen Marino. She's going to come up and say our... Oh, you want to do that first? Okay, you had it wrong. All right, so we're now going to do the prayer. No, the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm sorry. See, that's what happens when your glasses get foggy. And now I'm going to call up a veteran from both Air Force and Army, a good friend, Mr. Rodrigo Pazzi, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now I'll call up our volunteer who's been helping us tremendously, Karen Marino, who is going to do the prayer. Karen?
Thank you so much. Please take a seat. I'm just going to say something very quick. You can take a seat. I just want to thank Astrid for the opportunity to open this special celebration with a prayer. Something that I love about gatherings like this is that we begin honoring God. He's our Father and the one who holds our future. Prayer is more than words. It's our way to seek God's will because we depend on Him. When we put God first, He takes care of everything else. And I want to just give a verse from the Bible, 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from the wicked ways, they will hear, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. As we celebrate tonight together, I want to take a moment to recognize also our candidate, Mr. John Reed. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to pray over you that God, give you the wisdom and that you lead with compassion and that you get chosen. So I'm going to pray in Spanish. Okay? So we can stand up, please. Padre Celestial, gracias Señor por esta noche, gracias por el privilegio de poder, Señor, hablar contigo. Gracias porque sabemos, Señor, que sin ti no podemos hacer nada. Queremos buscar, Señor, tu voluntad en todo lo que hagamos. Señor, te pedimos por cada candidato que está aquí presente, cada familia, Señor, que está representada. Gracias, Señor, porque nos has dado una hermosa nación, porque hay muchas bendiciones, pero a la misma vez, Señor, necesitamos buscar tu rostro, porque sabemos, Señor, que hay mucha maldad en este mundo y, Señor, hay un ataque muy grande contra la familia, contra los niños, y te pedimos, Señor, que muevas los corazones de las personas, que voten, Señor, que hagan su parte, mi Dios, y tú vas a hacer el resto. Bendícenos el resto de esta noche, en el nombre de Jesús. Amén. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'm back on schedule. And I'm going to have the honor to introduce our first speaker. It's a gentleman that I've worked with for many years now, who is out there working the grassroots all over the country. It's called the Liberty Initiative. And Mr. Josh Ramundo is the main man in Virginia. And he's a great, great advocate for Latinos, and definitely he knows how to get the vote out. So, without further ado, Mr. Ramundo, come on up. Okay.
Thank you. Manny, when I walked in, he said, look at the podium. It's Manny-sized podium. It's like, good, because a Manny-sized podium is a Josh-sized podium. So, let's do this thing. I'm so glad that my speech follows a prayer. I'm Joshua Armundo. I'm the Strategic Director in Virginia for the Libre Initiative. We believe in freedom, family, the value of faith in our communities, the pursuit of truth, and the need for Latinos across the country to embrace these principles that have kept the American dream alive. My plan was in this moment to show you a video, but as you can see, there's no screen. So on your own time, you can go to YouTube and look up Daniel Garza, Economic Freedom. And it's a video we released last month. In fact, the producer of that video is sitting right over there at that table. Her name's Judy. Round of applause for Judy Pino, who is our something with branding and marketing for Libre. She's awesome. But in that video, you can really see a lot of what Libre is doing, reaching the Hispanic community with the message of limited government. See, I was just testing you guys. Limited government creates unlimited opportunities. And we believe that as Latinos embrace these principles, this is what's going to maintain the American dream and keep it alive for generations. So this speech is going to be half social commentary, half revival sermon, and then half a call to action to consider getting involved with Libre. So let's talk about how the world has shifted since September 10th, 2025. And we all knew where we were when we heard that Charlie Kirk got shot. We prayed that he'd live, and then just a few hours later, we all read that indeed he had died. A martyr for free speech, but beyond that, a martyr for Jesus and the gospel. But then came the response in our culture. On the one hand, there were those that condemned political violence and said we need more free speech. We saw this from both parties. There was grief. There was a solemn remembrance of the good things that Charlie had done in his life, and a motivation to keep fighting for freedom. In the same vein, there were, I included, countless people working in politics who were inspired to wear their faith on their sleeve and work harder for freedom and for Christ's kingdom at the same time. But beyond that, countless millions around the world for the first time went to church, picked up their Bible, prayed, and said, I need to find God again. We've never seen something like this in our lifetimes. The largest gathering in British history in England was Charlie Kirk's memorial. His death sparked something that's really special that we get to be a part of. Marco Rubio, a beloved Latino Republican, by the way, shared the gospel at Kirk's memorial, and J.D. Vance, vice president, said that he found himself talking more about Jesus in the last 2 weeks than he had in his entire public life. As someone heavily involved in my church and in mentoring youth, both in politics and in knowledge of God's word, it's been beautiful to see all these things come together. That's on the one side. But on the other hand, in our culture, we've seen something disturbing. We've seen a small minority, but a vocal minority, condone political violence. And we've seen left-wing activists and violent agitators deface billboards and memorials. We've seen people rationalize this, saying that Kirk's words were violent, therefore violence is justified toward people who believe like him. This reminds us of something that was leaked recently in Virginia. Some text messages that are very damning, advocating for the murder of someone of the opposing party. Where are we? This is the first time I've seen anything like this in my life. Do we want people that don't believe in free speech, that don't believe in limited government, that are willing to suggest the assassination of a colleague leading us? We're at a crossroads. Are we going to fight for freedom? For freedom of speech? For freedom to debate and disagree in the public square, but to live in peace and at harmony? Or are we going to say that sharing your ideas or being bold about your faith is something you should be persecuted for? I don't know which way this nation is going to go. I can't tell you for certain. But you know what? I have a whole lot of hope. And we see this sort of hope everywhere. In our countries, where we're from, we're actually seeing a lot of hope. In Venezuela, they elected to kick out the godless communist regime that's governing them. Now, they weren't able to kick them out, but the vote was there. That had never happened. In El Salvador, Argentina, even in Bolivia, JC, where you at? Even in Bolivia, whoa, where's JC? There he is. Even in Bolivia, we have election results that are surprising all of us. People who say, no, I actually agree with the founding fathers of the United States of America are winning elections in South America. I don't remember that happening in my life. We even see that in Brazil, there's a strong movement of freedom. And the communist dictator in Brazil, Alexandre de Moraes, who is not the president, he's the Supreme Court justice, he's scared. He's scared. So, what does all this have to do with Libre? Everything. Simplemente nosotros estamos en la comunidad proclamando la libertad. Eso es lo que nosotros estamos haciendo día tras día, semana tras semana, año tras año, y nunca salimos. We're not a group that only gets involved in elections. We lobby. We're out in the community educating people about these principles. And through our education programs, through our lobbying efforts, and yes, even through our campaigns, we're reaching Latinos across the country to ask them to vote for, advocate for, and learn about freedom. That limited government creates unlimited opportunities. And this truth is everywhere. Anywhere, any nation that applies freedom, any state that applies freedom gets better. We see it in Argentina, Singapore, South Korea, El Salvador, nations that embrace the ideas that our brave men and women gave their lives to preserve. These nations are thriving and growing. And Libre is going to be a part of that. Not out there, but right here. Right here with Latinos across the country. And I'm in charge of doing that in Virginia. I run all of our campaigns, all of our events, all of our lobbying. It all goes through me and my wonderful team. That's why I'm here. And that's why I directed Libre to sponsor this event. So here's that call to action. We're in the last half. This first call to action isn't from Libre. It's from me, okay? Go be motivated by Charlie and get right with God. Go to church, read that Bible, give your life to Jesus. After all, Jesus gave his life for you. He took the penalty that should have been yours and took it on himself so you could have freedom. He conquered death so that Charlie and you could conquer death in him. That's the gospel. Second call to action, way less important, but super important still. And this call to action is from Josh and from Libre, by the way. Consider getting involved with the Libre initiative. We have some good work going on in this election. If you want to help us out, just talk to me. Come volunteer. We're going to be out there during legislative session. We're going to be advocating for increasing parental rights, reducing taxes, getting rid of burdensome regulations. We want to keep right to work alive so we can have a freer and more prosperous Virginia. That's what we'll be doing. And it'll be normal, everyday Hispanics like you and me that are going to be there. Libre stands in the gap. We'll give you all the resources, all the education you need to do this effectively. I'm going to close with this. Let's not forget the words written on the Liberty Bell, the words of Jubilee, expressed in our most sacred founding documents. On the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, it reads, proclaim liberty throughout all the land. I've got business cards. Come talk to me. God bless you all. God bless Virginia. God bless the United States of America. And viva la libertad.
Wow, Joshua, either you're running for being a pastor or you're running for office. Very good. Well, it was said. With that, I am going to invite a dear friend who I work with and had the honor to participate in a lot of different projects. She is the CEO of the Faith and Freedom Coalition, which is a huge advocate throughout the United States, founded by Ralph Reed. And Mary Thomas is now the new CEO, and she has a lot of knowledge in reference to the Latino vote, because she was very instrumental in that vote in the last election cycle. So without further ado, my good friend, Mary Thomas.
thank you, Manny, and thank you, Astrid and the board, for all that you do. I know it's not easy, but I think what you guys are doing is one of the most important things that conservatives can do and that we can do to fight for freedom and liberty. So as Manny was saying, you know, the Hispanic population is growing at 9 times the rate of the non-Hispanic population. The U.S. Census Bureau predicts that between 2040 and 2050, the Hispanic population will overtake the non-Hispanic population in our country. So we need more people like Libre and us, of course, at Faith and Freedom. We're all fighting for the same thing. And as Manny mentioned, the Faith and Freedom Coalition is the largest Christian organization in the nation. We have over 3 million members, 130,000 churches, and most recently we partnered with Manny's help with the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, which is a network of over 42,000 Hispanic evangelical Christian pastors. And when we're going out, we are not talking about parties. We're not talking about Republican. We're not talking about Democrat. We are talking about the agenda of the Lamb, the Lamb's agenda. We are asking people to simply vote their biblical values. And we work with pastors and when we're working with the community, the most important people who can make a difference in reaching voters and getting them out to vote. Those are their pastors, their leaders, people they trust. So thank you again for all that you guys do here. As Manny mentioned, we worked very closely on a project last cycle, the battleground states, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, specifically focused on going out to the Latino community, speaking with them about their values, showing them that Republicans are not racist, and we believe in faith, family, and freedom, and biblical values. And the reception that we got from pastors was wonderful. We provided them with resources, easy to use resources that they could use. And we ended up reaching over 4.68 million targeted Hispanic voters, over 12 times each. And we trained and equipped over 2,000 pastors, and each of these pastors went out and equipped other Hispanic pastors in their communities. And from the pulpit, they were asking their congregants to get out to vote and to get out to vote their biblical values. So it was really a remarkable thing to see. We also had a Spanish language website where people could register to vote and also get mail ballots and see our voter guides, which actually we have some of our voter guides out here today. So please feel free to pick some up.
At the table.
And we have one of our very brave candidates here, Mr. Reed. So I encourage you all to get to know him. He's standing up for what's right. He's standing up for our values, biblical values. He's on our voter guide. And he's standing up for the values of the Hispanic community. So just to give you a little bit of reference, I guess, as to how important the Hispanic vote is. We all know that races are decided by very, very few votes these days, a narrow margin. So it just takes a few voters to make the difference. So in Virginia, Harris won by just 260,310 votes. In 21, Youngkin won by just 63,688 votes. And he ended up winning the Latino vote by 12 points. There are 450,424 registered Hispanic voters in Virginia. But this is an off-year election, right? It's not going to be the same turnout as a presidential election. So we have really, everyone here in this room who's Latino, who has friends that are Latino, we have got to talk to our community and get people out to vote and let them know the differences between the parties. Because if you were talking to someone and you were telling them, as a friend, this is a candidate that actually supports our values, faith, family, and freedom, that has a huge, huge impact. So every little vote is really not a little vote, every single vote is gonna count. So really encourage you to please get out with your friends and family and get them out to vote. We actually are doing a door knocking day. We have pamphlets here Saturday, October 25th at 9 a.m. We invite you to please join us in this, and everything that you can do really, and that Astrid and Manny has been doing and the candidates have been doing, is so, so critical, because we know what happens if the other side takes over, right? I mean, we have already seen it. You've seen it in Loudoun County, boys and girls bathrooms, people being attacked, illegal immigrants killing people. It's just so many things going on in our country, so many wrong things. We're on the right track with Governor Youngkin. We have a lot more work to do. So just thank you all for all that you're doing. The Faith and Freedom Coalition is proud to support Manny, Astrid, and the board, and the rest of the group. And thank you all for all that you do. And let's get out there, let's win this race. God bless America.
Thank you, Mary. Mary didn't really take a lot of the credit, but boy, she really had a great project when we were at the Job Creators Network and getting that Latino vote out in those key states. And also, I have to give credit to Astrid, because if it wasn't for the Latino Republican Coalition of Virginia during Youngkin's race, we wouldn't have seen that uptick in the actual Latino vote, which was almost 11 to 12% higher than before. So it's all about getting out. It's about making sure that people go out and vote. Give you an example. I ran for the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco as a Republican in San Francisco, where I was definition of a true minority, a straight Latino Republican from San Francisco. And I looked at the numbers, and there was 13 million Hispanics in the state of California. And out of 13 million Hispanics, it was about, I would say, 6 to 7 million who were eligible to vote, which means they were above 18 years old and U.S. citizens. Out of those, there was only about 3 million that were registered to vote. And of that 3 million, only about 1.5 million voted. So that's the importance about what we do to get that vote out. What Libra is doing, what Astrid's doing, and definitely what Mary's doing. Get the vote out, because that's the important thing. As she says, the margins are getting thinner and thinner. So with that, what I'd like to do now is I want to introduce to you our next Lieutenant Governor of the state of Virginia. I don't have to tell you much about what John Reed has accomplished, but he is one dynamic individual who had a tremendous radio show down in Virginia, who basically aspired people to get out and vote, and get out and learn about what they needed to do to make Virginia greater. And that is vote for John Reed to make him Lieutenant Governor. And also, don't forget Wisdom Sears and our great friend, Jason Miatis. So without further ado, our next Lieutenant Governor, John Reed.
Thank you. And if you've had 4 of these, that means I've been to 2 of them. So I'm glad to be back with you tonight. Is everybody feeling good?
Oh, yeah.
Are you excited? Not that anybody's counting, but we're just under 3 weeks away from this big election. And I see our House of Delegates candidates with us tonight. Everybody who's running for House, stand up so that we can give you applause. Make sure you speak to these candidates. You know, we got to get Winsome elected, because if you've been following what's happened for the last 4 years, it was a miracle that Glenn Youngkin was our governor. And everybody was betting against him, even though he was close to being a billionaire. They thought Virginia's gone. The Democrats own Virginia. This guy, even though he's a basketball player and he's got a lot of money and he's a good speaker, he can't win. And then you saw what happened. The Democrats taunted parents and told parents that they weren't really in charge of their own family, that they didn't have control over their own children, that the bureaucrats and somebody in Richmond or somebody in DC would be in charge of their own parents and their own families. And people didn't like that. And you saw what happened. 4 years ago. And Glenn Youngkin has made sure that he vetoed every crazy left-wing Marxist, socialist, communist idea and prevented them from becoming the laws here in Virginia. And that is a miracle that he was there to do it. And that's why the people who have said, as I've been traveling around the state for the last 8 months, oh, you know, we won with Trump, with Trump's in the White House, it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be okay. It's not gonna be okay in Virginia if we don't have a Republican governor to do what Glenn Youngkin has done and stop the evil from spreading across the state. So please join me in making sure that you get 10 people from your family to go out and vote for Winsome, and of course, to re-elect our magnificent Attorney General, Jason Miyares, who also used to come on my radio show all the time. And can I tell you something? I would try to trick him. He'd come on the radio and ask him a question deliberately designed to put him in an uncomfortable spot, and he was a pro. He didn't fall for it. And then as I've watched Jason, he doesn't govern by emotion. His personal feelings are irrelevant. This is a man who's looking at the law, whether he agrees with it or not. And we want to be a country that's ruled by the law, not by the emotions of the candidates or the governor or the lieutenant governor or the attorney general. And that has been on display with his opponent in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Jason Miyares may disagree with you. Jason Miyares may have an argument with you. He may debate you, but he's never going to want to kill you or your family. And that is a big distinction that is insane that we even have to discuss it. But that's a big distinction. And I know some of you from Central and South America, you see what has been happening in the United States because you left. Perhaps one of the reasons you left your home country was the violence that was on display where you grew up. I've been to 113 countries around the world. I've been in the middle of those civil wars. I've been in the middle of those wars, and it worries me that we are enabling and excusing and tolerating behavior that should be intolerable in the United States of America, and we certainly don't want it to happen in Virginia. And I think this team, with Winsome as governor, with Jason returning as Attorney General, and I hope by the end of my remarks here, you'll feel confident that I, as Lieutenant Governor, will stand up for your rights, stand up for freedom, be fair even to people who don't agree with me, and preserve something special that we have here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. When I speak to groups, and I promise you, I do the same set of remarks, whether I'm in Arlington and Alexandria, or whether I'm in Abingdon and Bristol, I talk about this economy, because many people left other countries, not just because of the violence, because they believed in the American dream. They believed that the economy, if you work hard in this country, you can provide for your family, and if you work hard for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, you will be in a better place than when you started. I think that's still true, but you have to have leaders at the state capitol who will make wise decisions, not emotional decisions, not socialist decisions, but wise decisions that empower the worker to bring home more of their own money and invest it and grow in their own community. That's why I should be Lieutenant Governor. My opponent, the poetry professor, 30 years at one of the local universities, she's tied into the socialist mindset that we can dictate from Richmond and dictate from Washington every important decision for the individual worker. That we can set the minimum wage and it will just all miraculously be okay instead of costing people their jobs. That we can take your right to work and get rid of it, and the economy will continue as it always has. In Virginia, we've had decades where Republican governors, and may I say it, even Democrat governors, have been very successful at bringing new business and bringing new jobs for everybody. Rich people, poor people, new jobs. And the reason is that we have not mandated that every worker join a union. Your friends, your coworker could join the union, but you don't have to. You don't have to have money taken out of your paycheck. When the CEOs of the major companies are trying to decide whether they're going to pick Tennessee or North Carolina or South Carolina or Georgia or Florida or Texas, they choose Virginia because we have right to work. We're perfectly situated on the East Coast. But if we lose that, those jobs will go to Nashville. Why? Tennessee doesn't have an income tax. And we probably should look at our tax policy. Winsome has already said she wants to get rid of the car tax. Finally! Finally! And I think there's momentum for that to happen. And I promise you, if I'm Lieutenant Governor and that bill comes before me, I'm going to vote the right way in a Senate that's 21-19. The economy is extremely important. Education is extremely important. Your freedom to send your kids to the school that you want to send them to, especially as some of our public schools, some, not all, but some of our public schools are failing. They're not delivering for young people. They're graduating, especially in urban areas, in the inner city, without the ability to read and write. We're spending $21 billion on that. $21 billion, that's double what we were spending just 5 years ago. And my opponent, Ghazala Hashmi, says it's still not enough. So if she would agree to a debate, I would ask her. She won't do a debate. She won't take questions. She won't do interviews with the press. She's hiding in the basement like Joe Biden. But I would ask her, how much money are we supposed to spend? 30 billion? 40 billion? 50 billion? How many billion? What do you need to accomplish? My solution is that we restore discipline in the classroom. That we make sure that young people know that when they come to one of our schools, the only thing that we care about is your grades and your ability to perform, your ability to stand up and use facts and logic and reason to express yourself. Not the color of your hair, not how many piercings you have, not what fancy clothes you have or don't have. This person's father has money and this person's father doesn't have money. No, it's about you delivering in the classroom. Democrats don't believe in that. Everything is about social justice. And this leads me to the final aspect of what I speak about all across the state. We're losing our culture. You've heard some magnificent speakers tonight talk about the importance of faith in our society. And let's be honest, 8.5 million Virginians, there are a number of different religions. There are a number of different ways people worship. I'm a Christian. But I am reaching out to people all across the state to say, return to the normal attitude that we respect other people, that we follow the golden rule, that we honor the traditions of our founding fathers and the Judeo-Christian ethic here in Virginia, and that we respect each other, that we do not threaten each other, that we do not allow rioters in the middle of the street, that we don't allow statues to be torn down and graves to be dug up just because someone has decided that they hate someone from the past. We're not going to tolerate that anymore. We know the difference between a protest and a riot, and we allow the protest and we don't allow the riot. And there are a lot of people in our state capitol right now who are very confused. I will not be one of them. I will make it clear what's acceptable under the law and what is not. And I will stand up, as I did in 2020, when the riots were happening in my hometown in Richmond, when the police were pelted with balloons filled with urine and feces, when they went into the police department and it was set on fire and no one did anything. The Democrat governor, the Democrat mayor, the Democrat prosecutor, the Democrat members of the legislature said nothing. As these people, some of them, my friends, were harmed, where innocent black families, Latino families, Asian families, white families had their businesses wiped out and still haven't recovered. It's unacceptable. And no one had the guts to stand up and say, stop, we will not tolerate this anymore. Well, I'm going to say that. if I'm sent to the Capitol in January. So I want to honor you. I want to thank you for having me with you tonight. I want to thank you, especially those of you who are politically active, for all the work you have done to get us to the place where our races are almost tied. My race is tied. Jason is pulling ahead, and Winsome is right there about to win. And now we have 18 days tomorrow for us to work diligently to get everyone we know to come out and vote for this Republican ticket, from the top of the ticket to dog catcher, because that will change the culture of Virginia, restore dignity and respect for all of our people, and give us the chance in the next decade, for all Virginians, no matter what their skin color is, no matter what their religion is, no matter what their sexuality is, no matter who they are or where they came from, the chance to live in real freedom, to choose their own life and how they want to exist, and live in peace and prosperity. And that's why I'm running. And that's why I'm asking for your vote on November 4th. And I thank you for having me here tonight.
I think this guy's going further than Lieutenant Governor. Wow, yes. So you mentioned the professor, I think that's running against you? Yeah, so we had a saying in business, those who can't teach, all right?
And then the Democrats put him in the Senate.
Oh my goodness, help us. Fantastic. Yeah, that's, what can I say? That's what we need in Richmond. That kind of voice that's there defending our values and also our cultures and definitely the economy, because it's the economy, stupid. That's what everybody says. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce a friend so he can come and say a couple of good words. This is the gentleman that has run this think tank that concentrates in Latin America and also other countries around the world, but mostly on security. And maybe he'll have a little bit to say about what's going on in the Latino community, but mostly what's happening in our hemisphere. I want to introduce you to my good friend Joseph Humari, who is, I can't say what he is now, but you can say it. Now he's at the Defense Department and he's responsible for Latin America. So come on up, Mr. Assistant Secretary.
Okay, so I'm not Manny size podium. Just that. Good evening. Great to be here. Thank you, Manny. Thank you, JC. Thank you, everybody that organized this. My name is Joseph Humeyer. I'm the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Western Hemisphere at the Department of War. I could talk to you a little bit about what we're doing, but fundamentally, I think all you really need to know, when you see a lot of it in the news, is that you have a lot of dedicated defense officials in the United States that are working around the clock to keep our country safe. President Trump has essentially redrawn the international strategic map, and led by Secretary Hexet and many others, we are fundamentally working to protect the homeland. And that includes as far away as Asia to as near abroad as Latin America, up north, and obviously on our border and all throughout the interior. So I'm gonna keep this light. I'm here on a personal capacity. I'm not here as a Pentagon official. Not used to, it's kind of funny because when I was in the think tank world, I spoke a lot in front of TV and I did a lot of TV interviews, and I'm kind of getting a little allergic to cameras nowadays. So I'm going to be a little bit brief in my remarks, and I'm going to be a little careful. Should say disclaimer: my views and what I'm going to say does not represent the Department of War, does not represent the Trump administration. I'm here just as Joseph Humeyer in my personal capacity, but I'll actually mention a reference, a little bit of a joke. I only have a few jokes, so hopefully this one works. And fundamentally, when in my previous life, I did a lot of media interviews, as I was saying, and I used to go to very big dinners and galas just like this one. And I was at a media gala, and I was seated at a table very much like this one, a head table, surrounded by people that are a lot more famous than me, media anchors, people that you'd recognize on television. And a little bit while I was sitting there, I had somebody come up to me and said, "Are you Joseph Humeyer?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Well, do you mind if I take a picture with you?" I was like, "Okay." So I got up and took a picture, went back to my table, got some awkward stares by these very famous people. And then a few minutes later, a waiter came up to me again, another one, and asked me, "Are you Joseph Humeyer?" Sure, yeah, I am. Can I take a picture? And then it got really awkward for a second, and the individual that was sitting next to me, who works at a prominent media station, I won't say his name, but he's very well known, he asked me, he said, are those relatives of yours? Or, do you know them? And I said, no. I said, no, not really. I said, they saw me on Telemundo. And like, nobody knows what Telemundo is outside of the Spanish-speaking community, the Latinos. And at that point, I realized that I have a certain kind of think tank fame, where I'm famous in Home Depots and kitchens throughout the United States. So, but no, I mean, in all seriousness, I'll just talk a little bit about, I guess, what the spirit of Latinos. I'm a lifelong resident, born, raised, grew up here in Virginia. I served in the Marine Corps for 8 years, came back to Virginia, and now have the privilege to serve the Trump administration, also in Virginia at the Pentagon. And the spirit of Latinos is very simple. It's very easy to describe. Someone once told me, said, Joseph, you want to be the highest ranking Latino in the Defense Department? I'm like, I don't see it that way. My goal isn't to be the biggest Latino anything. My goal is to be the best defense official that I can be as an American. And fundamentally, that is the spirit of Latinos. The spirit of Latinos is the spirit of being an American. So at this age, many of the Latinos that are in this room, many of the Latinos are going to come, their assimilation into this country, their adoption of the American values, the adoption of the American way of life is what holds this country together. So I very much hope, and everybody in this room is holding that together. All the speeches that I've heard, everyone has the values and the principles of what makes this country great. And I'll just pretty much end with, we have a lot of very dedicated professionals in the administration. Every day I feel privileged and honored to work in this administration, because I can tell you right now, despite whatever you hear in the news and the fake news, everybody in that building in the Pentagon is working to keep America safe. And we have a lot of threats that are coming from all angles, and they're very dedicated to this job. So thank you for everybody for being here, and it's a privilege to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. If you want to know about Latin America and what's going on, that's the expert right there. We had the honor to be on his show a couple of times, and amazing studies that he's done in the security aspect of Latin America and the threats that we face. So we're glad that he's at the Pentagon, because he knows the game. So with that further ado, what I want to do first, before I call up the madam, the May Mosaic, the chairman of the board in Virginia, I'm going to introduce some of the candidates that Mr. Reed mentioned, because politics is local, and that's the name of the game. So you have to really win those district seats that are very important, because we may win the 3 top seats, but if we don't get that legislative angle, the delegates, House of Delegates and the Senate, then we face a real challenge. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is have them come up and just say a couple of words, because I know we're running out of time and everybody wants to party. And that, would be great. Christian Kaufman, I'll call her up first. She's District 6. Christian? Oh yeah, come on, Christian. Give us a little bit of what you're doing.
Hi, thank you, and thank you for the warm welcome. I really wasn't expecting to speak tonight. I was just kind of expecting to celebrate with you guys, but it's very exciting to be here to support John Reed. I think he is an excellent, excellent candidate. I am a common sense Republican. I believe very strongly in supporting education. We need to be teaching children how to think, not what to think. I'm also very much in favor of keeping people who don't belong in your locker rooms out of your locker rooms. That's just not acceptable. And I am very pro-economy. We need to do what we can do to keep our economy strong, to keep the jobs coming, and really to keep families prosperous. So that's basically the platform that I'm running on. And oh, by the way, along with that, keeping the economy strong, geez Louise, we need to cut those darn taxes and get rid of the car tax, because we are overtaxed. It's your money, it's not their money. So again, thank you so much for inviting me, and I look forward to a little more partying this evening. So.
Thank you. And then we have Cat Accion, District 7. Aha, there she comes. Did I say it right?
I hear it all the time.
Uh-oh, I said it
No,
wrong.
no, you're good. You're good.
Okay, I didn't say action.
No, okay. It's, my name is Cassandra Aucoin. It's French, but we don't pronounce it in the French way in my family because my
Wait a
mother.
minute, excuse me, that's the way they wrote it, not me.
Oh, well, hey, I hear all sorts of derivations, and that's okay. That's okay. I really do appreciate the. So I'm Cassandra Aucoin, and I thank you very much for inviting me to come up here and speak for a few minutes. I also did what Kristen said. We are so proud to have someone like John Reed run for Lieutenant Governor, and he is really. I've been at a number of events with him, and every time he's so just compelling and appealing, and we just really love it. So I think your future is there for the next step. So keep on, okay? So I run in District 7, and District 7 is Reston, a lot of Reston, a little bit of Vienna, a little bit of Oakton, a little bit of Herndon. And so I have many of us are running in very kind of bluish areas. So it's kind of a little bit tough, but we're running on similar platforms. I am running on the affordability platform. I think the fact that my daughter has come home from college and she can't live anywhere except with me. Now, she likes it sometimes, she doesn't like it a lot of times. So, and it's working out. But you know, we realized right away that she couldn't even get her own apartment after coming out of college. It's just very tough for our children. Taxes, we all got our real estate bills. We know why that's happening. It's because it's kind of a circle. It's our education system is out of whack. They want more money and less achievement. So, you know, I'm running on the same sort of things. My opponent, her name is Karen Keys Kamara, and she was one of those school board members that kept our schools closed a lot longer than they needed to be, and we're still feeling the impacts of that. And so I'm holding her accountable on that. And so when I talk about her, that's one of the things I say. And the one thing she did bring up a few months ago is she does want to repeal the Right to Work Act. So I've been running with that one too. So anyway, we all want our economy to be great with the federal government downsizing. It's very important that we get the economy right, we get diverse. And as a former federal employee myself over 40 years, you know, I'm very much involved in trying to make sure that our federal employees get retrained and everything, and those are the kinds of things I'll run on. So thank you very much for inviting me to come tonight. Thank you, Astrid, for sending me a text so I can come on. And I would enjoy talking to you afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Very impressive candidates. And the next is Amy Riccardi. She's running for school board. There she is, running for school board in the Sterling District. Amy.
Yeah, I might just give you a run for the money for the Manny-sized podium. This is great. It's so great to meet you guys. I'm Amy Riccardi. Thank you so much for inviting me tonight. Astrid, thank you so much for the invite, particularly. I've had a chance to get to know Astrid for quite some time with the Virginia Latino Advisory Board. I'm running for school board in the very notorious Loudoun County. And I made that decision to run a couple of years ago, and then I'm running again this year. It's been, as you all know, quite literally the hotbed of all things crazy when it comes to kids in our schools. But I actually live in the Sterling district of Loudoun, and that's important to you, primarily because it's the largest concentration of Hispanic students in the state. We have 10 schools in total. 7 of them are Title I schools directly in Sterling. They're 72% Hispanic. They're 54% English learners, 62% economically disadvantaged. So these are some of our most challenged students. Loudoun County has literally ignored this population for decades. Their education scores and numbers in Sterling are lower than English learners anywhere else in the Commonwealth. And I am incredibly passionate about fixing this problem because these children are graduating from high school in 12th grade, still reading on maybe a 3rd or 4th grade level. They are not being teed up for great success. And this Democrat-run school board has literally given them no space and no path to really have great success. in their lives. And my opponent is part of that wheel. This is the same group of people that vote for boys and girls bathrooms in sports and locker rooms. This is the same group of people who have shut down parents coming and speaking at school board meetings. You've seen the brawls that have happened in our school board. We've had a girl raped in these schools. So it is time. We actually have 4 fantastic candidates running in Loudoun County right now. Another member of the Virginia Latino Advisory Board is running in the Dulles District. He's fantastic. And I will tell you, this is actually the opportunity for us to flip this school board. People are sick and tired of this. They are sick and tired of the craziness. And our very Christian and Catholic Latino community in Sterling is a hardworking, salt of the earth population. We all work multiple jobs to make ends meet, and our money and our $2 billion school board budget, I might add, is larger than our county budget. And we have got to do better by our Latino students. We just absolutely have to. So that is why I'm running. I didn't even say I'm a mom of 4 kids. I'm a CEO of my own business. And I'm really glad to be here tonight because I like to really make sure that people understand that we have a Latino population of kids that really need the attention and deserve the attention and focus that we need to provide them for greater education. And by the way, John Reed was the first of the ticket that actually came to the Loudoun County School Board meetings on behalf of parents, and I appreciate that very much. I know Winsome Sears has been there as well since then, and it's been really fantastic. And of course, Jason Miyares has supported all of the court cases and the hundreds of millions of dollars that we seem to spend on court cases, both at the federal level as well as the state level. So thank you so much for being such a great supporter.
Wow, we got some impressive candidates. And the next candidate, we see eye to eye. And you'll see why I say that. And that is a gentleman by the name of Wing, who's running in District 7. And there he is, coming to the Ross Perot podium.
Thank you, and actually my first name is Young, which is, with the N with the tilde, so, again, I love my Hispanic friends because they're able to pronounce my name, my name, and I also love, it is so true. It's not just that we see eye to eye, on this physical level, but, spiritually, I'm also an immigrant. Again, like many, I was born in Vietnam, but I was made in the USA. Woo! That's what drives us. We are here to protect this country. I revel in all the wonderful things that I'm able to get from this country, and I'm so proud of it. So it pains me to see that there's so many haters. There's so many people that want to destroy this country. Not just in the physical, but spiritually. And that's what we are standing here to fight against, and that's why I'm running. I share the same values as all of you: faith, family, freedom. I'm a Vietnamese immigrant. I escaped communism, so we came here for the freedom, and I'm staying here for the family and the faith that this provides, because I have faith in a higher being, and that's why Youngkin won, and that's why Trump won. I mean those are miracles, and I'm hoping for a miracle that John Reed will win, and I will also win my district. I went 2 years ago to support Trump and all the patriotic Americans here, and I got 40%. So we have hope. My district is District 9, which covers Centerville, Chantilly, most of Salt Lake District, basically Western Fairfax County, from the Fairfax County Government Center to the border with Loudoun County. And the north and south border, it's basically a large rectangle. north as Route 50 down to Route 29. So if you know any of your friends that live in this area, please tell them we only have 2 weeks to go out and vote. We need as many as possible. Just 6-8 years ago, so my district, the delegate there was Tim Hugo and Jim LeMonion. So it's not that far away. We were never that blue. But somehow along the way, we lost our faith, we got discouraged, and we don't go out to vote. So we need to change that. We need to, every one of us need to get 10 people to the polls and vote for Winsome Reed and Miyares and your delegate. It's very important. The House of Delegates is very important right now. As you guys know, the Democrats are planning some constitutional amendments, and if we lose the House of Delegates, they already have the Senate, and they'll be able to introduce those amendments and set things in stone, like voting for felony abortion. So those we need to prevent that. Furthermore, Winsome and John as governor and lieutenant will need the support that we gonna get. We need to be able to introduce legislation that they can sign into law that help Virginia moving forward, that help the federal workers that are being laid off right now. So there's so much to do. So please join me and help with all the other delegates here and all of the candidates here and John here and do your action. Actually, we need to also donate, please. So Win for Virginia. That's my, I'm doing the play on word here. Win for Virginia, HUYNH. For the word for and the word Virginia.com. We need to push ads out. I also want to invite John, because Manny motivates me. When I grow up, I want to be like Manny. And I want a Vietnamese American Republican coalition, and we want to invite John to go on some of our TV shows and get out the vote effort. There's about 100,000 to 150,000 Vietnamese Americans in the DMV area. This area in Richmond, I think there's about 80,000. So you still got 50 to 60,000 registered voters, which is the difference in the Youngins race. So it's important that we share your values. I love my Hispanic friends. I grew up with so many Hispanic friends in our low-income neighborhood, and they have a special place in my heart. Anyway, thank you so much, and God bless all of you.
Wow, that's impressive. Virginia is in good hands. And it's in your hands to make sure that we get them there. So that's the key. With that being said, I think I've got all candidates. Oh, wait a minute. Which one did I miss here? Wait a minute, let me look. Oh, she's gonna whoop me, I know that for sure. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, Sandra Davis. Okay? And she is a no tax on cars, right? And she's running in District 15. So please give her a big applause.
So I'm Sandra Davis, and I'm kind of feral at this point. I've been roaming and rattling around the streets of my district since January. I've been through all kinds of weather. But if you do not know who your delegate is, I need you to go to mylegislator.com and type your address in. You should not leave here not knowing who your delegate is. What's it like to be a Republican candidate in Fairfax County? You can go look at my Davis for Delegate on X or Facebook and see that I was accosted at the Burke Farmers Market last weekend. That video has almost 1 million views, a million. So we're trying to expose how they act around here. And Jason Miara's, his app that we use focuses on soft Dems and independents. And when I go to those doors, every time it's either an Asian or a Hispanic. And I can instantly flip those votes because my signs say no car tax. And who would disagree with that? Recently, I've moved on to hard R's to get out the vote. And these neighborhoods are under siege. There's always a large in charge liberal who has the whole street cowed and disinvites them to the barbecue and gives them trouble at the swim club. And I show up and you have to be brave. Like even the fact that I haven't seen a Republican candidate in like a decade at their door. And I'm like, and I show them the app. There's red dots all around them. They have this idea that they're alone and they're just not. We're like 40%. That's not alone. That's not all of your neighbors being liberal. So I show up. We're closing in on 7,000 doors. I've sent 20,000 texts. I'm going to make thousands of calls. And I'm happy to be here tonight. And I'm working hard every day to make it better for all of us. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Sandra. That was wonderful. Now, before we bring up the boss to give us some remarks, I want to invite all the candidates, including John, to come up and take a picture. Okay? So we can have that posted.
We'll do that.
Come on, absolutely.
It's good for social media.
Absolutely.
People will see
Right
us.
by the flag over here. There you go.
Okay. Good job.
Sandra? Come on up.
Everybody. Okay. Very good. Here we go.
I was just lucky.
We'll start here and we'll move across. Start. Here we go. One. To the middle now. Down to the right. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. That's what I would suggest.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. On to victory, everybody. Thank you.
All right.
Many
We will have the closing remarks soon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, where am I going?
You guys.
Here we go. Oh, I got it. Okay. Good?
It's my turn.
Good. All right.
Yo te la mando.
All right. Now we're going to do the closing remarks and then we can party hard. All right. Thank you very much, candidates. We appreciate you. I'm going to call up the chairwoman of the Latino National Republican Coalition of Virginia to give her closing remarks, and then we can hopefully have some good music and maybe some food left over, and definitely a lot of drinks. So Astrid Gomez, please come up and give us your remarks. Thank you, Astrid. Thank you.
Okay, I'm a little bit shorter than you.
Everybody is.
Oh, every year, I have to thank everybody, and I'm so glad that you guys come together and we talk about the spirit of Latinos in Virginia. A few years ago, 5 years ago, and I feel like I have said the same thing in the last 4 years, I met Manny and a group of Latinos saying that you are the person that can run the show. And I wasn't sure because I was like, I'm from Venezuela. I was born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela.
I moved to Miami in my 20s, back in the 80s, so made the math. And then I moved my family after I had my child, my first child. I moved my family back to Venezuela because I do believe in family. And my parents and my sister was there. So I said, you know, what a nice way to raise a family with my parents. So I moved back to Venezuela in January 1989, January 27. My husband was American. He was born here and he was raised in Belgium. And he was like, I don't know why we're moving to Venezuela. That's a banana republic. I don't like that. And I said, well, but the family is there and the kids are going to be able to roam around and go everywhere. So we decided to move. Guess what happened? February 27, the Caracazo happened. If you don't know what the Caracazo is, it was the movement of Chavez when he started that movement to change the country and take over. So I had a 20-days-old child, and we were locked in a house for a month. And I believe that my friend Leonardo remembered those days, that we were locked for a month, and we were like expecting what is going to happen to the rich country. Some people say that nothing is going to happen. Those are the students that they don't like the way that the country's been running. But guess what? It was undercover. It was Chavez. So after a few months, my husband, at that point I was living in Miami. Don't say that. I mean, I can say it publicly. I was living in a tourist visa because I didn't need anything else. I mean, I spent 20 days in Miami and I went to Europe for my job. I went to Latin America, so I didn't have to stay. And that was my big problem. Married to an American and say I cannot stay for a year just for a green card. Who needs that? So I'm from Venezuela. Venezuela is a rich country. I don't need that. So it happened that my husband, my neighbors were Americans, and they asked me to register the kids and my husband in the embassy, in the American embassy. And they say if something happened in Venezuela, they take the Americans out of the country and they save them. So I went to, I'm a good mother, a good wife, and I decided to go to the embassy and say, hey, I'm registered my family. And they asked me, what about you? I said, oh no, I'm Venezuelan, I have a tourist visa. They said, well, you know what happened to you, you will stay. If something happens, your family, they will go and you stay. If we have any space in the plane, we will take you. But we don't know. Remember that Venezuela has oil, so most of the oil companies were run by Americans, so I didn't have a big chance. I said, don't worry, I will walk to Colombia and I will cross the border and I will go and I will fly from Colombia to Miami. So my husband decided that it was time for me to live with the two kids. So I came and I moved to the United States. And I started all my paperwork and I did my green card, I did my citizenship, and that had happened. I have been able to go back to Venezuela for 31 years. So I chose Virginia to be my home state because I have that connection with horses, and it was so nice to live in Virginia. I lived in Maryland for a few months and I didn't like it that much. I'm sorry, Maryland. People from Maryland, I'm sorry, but it was that's my story. So I went back to school. I raised my kids here. My husband was coming back and forth. We were not the typical family. We were for my kids, that was normal, that a daddy was living in another country. He came every 6 weeks. And we had, a nice marriage like that until Chavez decided to take everything from us, the business, and everything from us in Venezuela, and my husband passed away. So it was very sad for my kids, it was very sad for everybody. And that was when that was a shock. And I'm telling my story to you guys because most of us coming from another country. And I see many people, many Latinos involved in the community or maybe in their own life. But when I say, and people ask me, why did you get involved with the Republican Party? Why are you doing that to yourself when Virginia, more Northern Virginia, is blue? My neighbors are blue. Everybody around me is blue. And I say, well, I have a very smart guy. My son called me 5 years ago. He moved back to Miami and he said, hey, lady, what happened in Venezuela is happening in this country. And guess what? You choose the United States to be your country. So go out, speak, and start getting the good people elected. And that was like, I'm the mother, I'm the Latina mother. You don't say what I have to do. And I said, Mom, seriously, you have to go out because I see that we are losing the United States. So I didn't understand when my fellows of Venezuela said that we come from the future. I didn't put that together. What is that we are coming from the future? Yes, we already passed for everything that we are seeing that is happening here. The schools taking away our liberty to speak, our freedom, what happened to President Trump, and I see every single day, and I feel like I'm living my deja vu. I'm back in Venezuela, but in English. So, yeah. So I decided to become involved in Governor Youngkin's campaign, that I was lucky enough to meet him in a restaurant, talking. I walk in there and he said, oh, I'm Glenn. And I was like, who is Glenn? We started talking and I Googled him and said, are you out of your mind? Why are you running? I mean, it's like they are gonna hit you like a piñata. Don't do that. And he was like, and I was ready to move out of Virginia. I was ready to move to Tennessee or a red country, a red state that I will have fun and I will not have the fear to live the way that I was living here. So he convinced me. He said, hey, stay, make me win, help me to win, and we will do something differently. And I did believe when that tall guy told me that, and I said, yes, I will do it. So at that point, we had the best ticket, and people the coalition were laughing about me. They were like, ha ha ha, who is Glenn Youngkin? Who is Winsome Sears, Jason Millares? And I said, that's the winning ticket. And I used to say that to Rich Anderson, and he looked at me like, ha ha ha. It was the good ticket, and I have the feeling, John, that you, Winsome, and Jason are the best ticket now. So, I'm telling you this because it is easy for me to say this, but every single person, every Latino in this room, I invite you to get involved. People, they don't want to get involved because are afraid. I was afraid. I didn't speak out as a Republican a few years ago. When people started finding out in my job that I was a Republican, I told them, you didn't know? I came out of the closet as a Republican. Sorry. And they were like, oh, that's a joke. No, that's the truth. I'm a Republican, so I'm a conservative. So I lost most of my friends, which I'm glad that I did because they were not very true friends. So I invite you, all of you, to come out, talk to your friends. I talk in the supermarket. I talk in the Uber car. That's a brave one. When you talk, because the guy has the control in that car. But I have seen the guy who came Monday, I have a guy from Verizon. He came to my house to fix the internet. I don't know why we start talking about, oh, that everything is so expensive and nothing is working. And I said, oh, are you gonna vote? And he was like, yes, but the problem is the orange guy. I said, who is the orange guy? I mean, I cannot say his name. Oh, let me tell you that I voted for him 3 times. And after I said that, maybe he's gonna kill me in my own house. But I said, and he was like, oh. I said, you have to give me one reason why you don't like him. He couldn't give me the reason. So we have to fight. If Donald Trump has the decided to fight for us, we have to fight for this country. Because what I feel, and I cry almost I feel like I'm getting old because I cry every single day thinking, what is gonna happen to this country? What is gonna happen to my children? What is gonna happen if my kids, they decided to have children, have my grandchildren? What is gonna happen to your kids? So we have to go out and we have to speak. We have to help these guys to be elected. I remember the day that I met Sandra, and it was at the Fairfax Country Club, and I was invited by Susan Yonkin to that meeting. And I walk in that meeting, I sit down, I don't have the Latino time, I'm always early. So I sit in that meeting, and the lady next to me said, are you Democrat? And I was like, I feel like I got in the wrong room. So I was leaving when Susan Yonkin was coming, and she said, oh no, we have a Democrat for Yonkin. And I was like, what? So I was in the right room, and most of the women in that room were Democrats leaving the party. And one of the persons who was leading the party was this lady. We went to have breakfast like 2 days after, and she told me, I want to run for a school board. Do you think that the party is going to accept me? I said, yes. We are good people, and she ran for a school board. And we have been friends since then. And I'm very proud of her because she has a lot of courage to do something like that. And I want to thank you, everybody, for being here with us and every year to celebrate the Hispanic Heritage Month. We really need to show that we are not just the Latinos, we are Americans. And we have to be proud of this country that they open the arm and give us the opportunity to live here and raise our children and made a life. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you next year. I may not be the chair. Where is money? Somebody else is gonna be the chair. The position is open to everybody, so sign to be part of the Latino National Republican Coalition. I have had a lot of fun. I have met a lot of good people. I have the chance to be very close to the governor, to the lieutenant governor, to this guy. I really had fun doing this. So thank you, Mary, for all your support, and all of you guys. And I love you, and I hope to see you next year.
Not only next year, but there's gonna be a nice party somewhere in December, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she always does a great party for December, so get ready for that one.
Something that I want to announce is next Saturday, the 25th, Governor Yonkin is going to be, we are going to have CPAC, Latino CPAC at the Maná del Cielo Church in Sterling. We are expecting 250 people. You are more than welcome to come. It's going to be Governor Yonkin. This guy is going to be there. Winsome Sears, Jason Millares, myself. So I feel like we are going to have a good, it's going to be packed. we need you. We need, I mean, you can go to our Facebook page. We have all the information there. You have to register. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. This lady's doing a great job. It's a great job, so give her a big hand of applause. And we're gonna close right now, and we're gonna have some great music. There's still some food, I think, and there's definitely drinks, but I wanna ask one question and see if you guys have the answer. What is the second largest nation that speaks Spanish? Yeah, what is the second nation that speaks more Spanish? They have more Spanish. The USA. Number one in Mexico, number two is the USA.
I will say.
Well, those are Cubans. No. So, we want to thank you all for your support. We want to thank you for being there with us and celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And like the actress said, we can only do one thing, is to get out to vote.
Yes.
And every one of us can take out 10 people to go out to vote. We're gonna win. And we got great candidates, you saw them here today, and they're gonna be the future leadership of Virginia and hopefully the future leadership of this nation. So thank you very much. Enjoy Hispanic Heritage Month, and let's party hard. Good night. Okay.